Hi, today I'm going to show you what to do next with your seedlings. They've sprouted, they're looking a little big for where you sowed them, and it's time to move them onto their own little pot. Some people call this pricking out, or sometimes people thin out, or potting on, and I'm going to show you what all of those mean and take the mystery out of it. So bear with me, it's Rebecca from the Busy Woman's Garden, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Okay, so here I have a mixed tray of a few different plants. It doesn't really matter what they are, you do the same sort of thing with them, but I picked this tray because it has a mixture of these very delicate little spindly guys, which are wallflowers, and these sort of sturdier borage plants. You can see they're much bigger. These were all planted the same day, so this might happen to you too, where you have some that are still teeny tiny, some that are starting to look substantial, and some that are small. But it's all the same principle that applies. Just I won't be touching these ones yet; they're way too small to handle. But these ones can definitely be moved on. So what you really, the rule of thumb is, can you handle it safely? So like obviously these are fairly sturdy looking, so you can. What you're looking for is two sets of leaves. So all seedlings, regardless of what type they are, they come with a pair of leaves first, one single pair of leaves. You can probably see it here on a tiny one. There's just two little leaves there on that one. They're seed leaves. But after that, they get another set of leaves, which are their first true leaves. And this is a really good example, I think, to show you this. So here on this borage, these roundy leaves are their seed leaves, but this serrated edge leaf here that you can see, that's a true leaf. So all the rest of the leaves on the plant will be these ones. And when you see two true leaves coming through, you know it's time for the plant to get its own home. You can see it's kind of congested looking in this section in the middle of this tray. So what you need to do is very carefully and gently take them out and pot them on. I've a little tray here prepared already with some multi-purpose compost. I just use multi-purpose compost. You can mix in some perlite or vermiculite into it to increase the drainage if you want. I'm not going to bother, to be honest with you, but you can definitely do that. So what I do is I use a little spoon. So just get yourself a spoon out of the kitchen and tip it out. So it is important that you keep everything kind of clean. So these are, I gave them a wash. Look, you don't have to sterilize them, but try and keep your tools fairly clean, because if there is some kind of a disease or pest on one plant and you keep using the same tools, you will transfer it to the other one. So it's a good idea to try and keep them. It's only for seeds I'd be telling you to do that. I don't really worry about it too much, the other ones. So I'm going to turn this around. It probably makes more sense to do these little teeny tiny ones, or at least try and do some of them first. So they're wallflowers. It's amazing, these will grow really sturdy. So I just try and scoop out the whole lot first. Okay, and I'll just put them there till I can see what am I dealing with. I use this, look, that's just a little stick that came with some plant. There are special dibbers. You can get wooden ones. Hard to keep the wooden ones clean, I find those. The plastic is kind of very handy, that way you can clean it easier. So I make a little hole for it first. And you can see that these seedlings are spindly, leggy, you'll hear that called. So basically long and thin. It usually means that there wasn't enough light for them wherever I had them for these particular seedlings. So I'm trying to tease apart one carefully. And when you go to pick it up, this is going to seem counterintuitive if you haven't done it before. You're picking it up by the leaf, not by the stem. The stem is actually more delicate than the leaf. So we'll just take that apart as best we can and pop it in. Now the next trick is you can put this down as far as you can without damaging it, and it helps to bury the length of the stem a little bit. It makes the plant have a sturdier starting off point. So I'll actually fill that in with another little bit of compost. I'll rob it out of here for now. So you don't need to plant it at the same depth that it was in the original tray. So you can see these were very long. And when I go to plant it, I'll plant it up as close as I can to the original leaves. You can see already it looks much safer and stronger. So the same thing with this one. You can see the little root ball there. I won't go doing any more than that. Obviously, you don't want to have it dangling there by the leaf too long, but they'll take a bit more than you think. And I'll do the same thing. I'll rob some soil from here for this one. Now, the other thing you probably are going to have to contend with when you're doing this is that some of the seedlings aren't going to make it. Okay, so some of these are very spindly, and they're probably not going to survive the transfer. So if it's looking like it has no hope, you're probably better off to face that fact sooner rather than later. So look, that's probably not going to make it. I'm not going to try. And when I started out first, I used to feel so murderous getting rid of these guys. But that's thinning out. If you ever hear them talking about thinning out other seeds, they'll sometimes do it with tomatoes or carrots, I think. But, it often happens on a tray where you have a tray like that, where there's loads of little tiny ones like that grown in close together. And what happens is it's nearly too difficult to take out one or two safely out of it. So what ends up happening is you end up sacrificing, just pinching out the ones that look the least strong, I suppose, to give the ones that are that have the best chance of going forward, giving them a chance of survival. Now see here, we have two stuck together. This might not work. Oh, it did. Sometimes that can be conjoined seedlings sometimes don't make it either, so you have to be prepared that there might be some sad stories. But look at you have loads, you usually have loads to play with. So like that's not gonna make it. Let me see, try and get this guy up. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so I'm just going to pop my soil in here. Okay, so you get the idea. You keep going. I'm firming up around it gently, like it is gentle, but you're trying to give it a bit of support. You're using the soil to give it a little bit of support. I'll just finish off a couple more of these just so that I have a full tray of them to show you. This one is probably, it's not great, but I'll give it a go. And the same principle applies for every kind of seedling you have. So the size of the seedling is no indication of anything, just different size plants grow different size seedlings, and sometimes they take off at different times. Like I'll show you now in a second. I have sweet peas. Oh dear, I was thinking that was going to end in disaster. I think I've lost my root ball there. Do you know what I'll do is I'll stick it in anyway and hope for the best. That one doesn't look like a good bet to me. So you can see now that if I pot up everything that looks like it's going to survive, I'm going to need a huge amount of trays and stuff. And like, if they all survive, what am I going to do with them all? So you might find that that becomes an issue for you. And if it does, you're not going to be able to, you're going to have to sacrifice the ones that don't look like they're going to make it. So I hate to be the bearer of sad news, but that is the reality of life. So look, that's that one. Now the next thing you do is you're going to give it a watering. So with all watering, oh look at this, it's not very cute. With all watering, you are watering the soil, not the plant. So try and keep the water off the leaves of the plant. And the reason for that is that if direct sunlight gets on these little really delicate leaves, when there's water on them, it can scorch them, and just, they need the leaf. They're using the leaf to create the roots. So you really, now, so you can see that one probably got a little bit too much of a drowning. So I'll just try and shore them up a bit. And you can top up the soil again. You can see there that the water is making the soil sink down. So you can give it another little top up. It's all kind of helping bed them in. Yeah. These will all take another little, they'll all take a little refill. So you can see this is a pretty time consuming job. And what I'm trying to do is put them into little cells that are big enough for them that I won't have to move them on again. If you put them into other tinier little containers, you could end up having to pot them on, which is basically take them out of that pot and put them into another pot, and then you'll be planting them in the ground or something as well. So look, I'm too busy for that crack. Even that is enough work for me. And I'll just show you a couple of what I'll do here with the borage plants, the bigger ones here. This will be easier because they're sturdier. I'll make a couple of holes first. Scooping the whole thing out. Don't try to dig out a single plant on its own, because it's very hard to know where the roots for any one of them go. Sometimes the roots can travel underneath. And actually these are huge root balls, so I will be better off to just take out some of this, pop it down, and I will bury, these aren't as leggy so it's not as big an issue, but I will bury, try and keep the soil off the plant. Okay, I'm going to take out more soil here before I start this one. So I'm handling it by the leaf again. There's too much weight in that. If I lift that, I can feel it'll be too heavy. So I'm just taking off a little bit of the compost. Pop it in and then shore it up. Look, I'm not using gloves for this because I just find it too fiddly to do with gloves. But strictly speaking, you have to be careful around compost. You don't know what's in it. There was very strange story. So wash your hands afterwards. Try and remember to wash your hands afterwards, because it's not a great idea to be handling compost without gloves. But I'll say I can't do it any other way. So there's 2 of them done. I'll do the rest of those as well. But you get the gist of that, and you do your best to try and not have compost on the leaves. Those leaves are kind of furry, so they're hanging on to it. I wouldn't be winning any prizes for the nails. I won't be doing any reels on how to have your fancy nails like the young people do. So I'll just show you my sweet peas as well. So here I have sweet peas in various states of moving on. So I planted these, believe it or not, around the same time as these. So it goes to show you, you know, it depends on the plant. Look how long these are compared to some of the other ones. I did in my previous video pinch out some of my sweet peas, but I'm going to do it again because I think you might get a better look at what I'm doing. So I'll just put this to one side. Okay, so this is actually a perfect example of one here, and I'm going to try and take it out so that everyone can see it. Okay, so it has 1, 2, 3 and a little growing tip there, if you can see on that. And it's this growing tip that you pinch out. And all you do is you squeeze it with the nail, if you have one, of your forefinger and thumb, and take it out. That's all I'm taking out, is that little bud. Can you see that? Yeah, I think you can. And you just put it in the compost, and that's the end of that. And off it goes. Back in. And I do it with the rest of them as well. And that's pinching out. Other plants will be pinched out later on, but they don't have enough leaves yet for them. So I'll do another video for those closer to the time. So I hope that helps. I have gone over pinching out, thinning out, and pricking out, all the outs. Also, I kind of did mention about thinning out and what that means as well. So that's your next steps, guys. It's laborious. So don't feel like you have to do this, right? There are other ways. You can buy these plants. I do it more because I enjoy growing, you know, I enjoy seeing those little shoots coming out. I you know, it gives me a bit of a lift. If it doesn't give you a lift, don't bother. Like it's a lot of work, and you can buy the little plants. They're not even that dear. Most of these are bedding plants that could be bought in the supermarket, you know, for $1.99 or something. So if you don't have time, don't be beating yourself up thinking you have to be doing seeds to have a lovely garden. You don't really. It's just something to be doing while you're waiting for the rest of the garden to be coming around. And you do have to enjoy the actual process of it. If you're waiting for these seeds, the only reason you're growing them is so that you'll have this amazing garden at the end of it, you can be disappointed. Sometimes they don't work, or they're, you know, they don't turn out as you hoped. So you have to actually enjoy this part, the potting on part and all of that as well, or otherwise you're probably setting yourself up for disappointment. So I hope that's helpful. I try to keep it real and tell you the full story, not just the Instagram story. And please follow me if you're enjoying it, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps. It shows it to way more people if you do that. And I will put a link down below for a resource if you want to download for more fuss-free, kind of hassle-free flowers for your garden this summer. I'm Rebecca. This is the Busy Woman's Garden. Thanks for tuning in. Bye bye.